News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Producer Garrett, would you check for me? I was digging a little bit, and there's only so much I could do during the break there. Would you just see as far as how many hours of training go into a teacher being able to carry concealed on campus in Texas? And number two, how often is the training? I'm going to guess it's 20 to 30 hours from recollection of reading the bill that was passed and when it was passed. I believe it was like 25 or 32 hours of training, and it's specific to school shooters. And number two, is it every year? I will not be surprised, and I would think it is every once a year the training is. So, and they do background checks constantly, but this is good. And the more of our campuses that do this in Texas, the safer we are. All right. So, yeah, let me know what that is, because I think one of the things is you have to have a license to carry. So you pass the threshold of just getting the knowledge like I had as a license to carry guy. Because I'm going to tell you right now, when you go to get your license to carry, you walk out of there and you're like, I really don't want to ever pull this thing out. Because you find out the dangers of producing your weapon. You find out when it's lawful. You find out those so many times when you might think it's okay to pull it out. I'll tell you what we do know, what I do know. I've been trained up, and I also had several Texas attorneys who are literally specific gun attorneys. You know, they defend people who are charged. It's okay. What does it say? 730 hours for a teacher to have to carry a weapon on campus in Texas. 730 hours. Well, it's 40 hours a week. So, I mean, my gosh. Wow. I don't think it was that. I don't know. Just double check on that. Check another source, because I think it's like 25, 30 hours. Anyways, with your concealed carry, it used to be 8 hours. It's now 4 hours. And I went through, I think it actually might be even less now. I can't recall. And you don't need one. It's constitutional carry, but I think you should, yeah. State House News Bureau, yeah, says. Bureau, yeah, says. Yeah. Okay. Oh, the same stuff of a school resource officer? Okay. Well, 730 hours of peace officer training. This is interesting. That's news to me. But anyways, it's very thorough. It's over the top thorough, and I think that arming teachers is the way. I think if you want your child to think that they're in prison, that's when you put a metal detector in plastic bags. Hey, you're gonna go in here and get shot and turn into a meat grinder. So let's put you through this prison routine to make you safer. Let's scare the crap out of the kids needlessly for something that won't stop them. Anyway, I wanted to get into this, too. Our number, by the way, 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. But I wanted to get into this one, too. This, especially for a Friday night. I don't get to be a little loosey-goosey and fun with you as much as I want to on Friday nights late for a while, and I don't like that. And I saw this one. I thought this would be great. So here it is. And this is real gross. I'll try to be not too gross about sharing the details on it. But sick details emerge. This is from the Daily Mail today. Sick details emerge from in a case of Kansas steakhouse worker who contaminated food with bodily fluids. 21-year-old is accused of contaminating food at a steakhouse. The cops say he admitted to rubbing his genitals and on the food and urinating on dishes. His disturbing behavior persisted from March 26th to April 23rd. I mean, that's almost exactly 4 weeks. All right. So he's accused of doing that. And here's what he did. He is accused of filming himself doing this. And then posting it under a username, an anonymous username called Vandalizer. Yeah, I made up that name. Detectives, what happened was they charged him with one felony count of criminal threat at the end of April. Detectives spoke with management at the restaurant about their suspicions. The clips were titled, this is unbelievable. The clips were titled P, but not urinating, but P word as in the swear, kind of a swear, should I just say it? No? Okay. You got it, right? Okay. It rhymes with kissing. Okay? It's the same thing, except it's a P. The clips were titled P word in the peeing in the serving sauce again. And then another one said the P word again, peeing on restaurant dessert. And then another one, love making people taste my sweaty genitals and spitting in everything in the restaurant, part 2. I mean, this is beyond insane. He used body parts including genitals, buttock, feet to touch the food. I mean, this guy is this guy's got a real problem. And shoving it down his pants before serving it to customers. Oh my gosh. Investigators showed it to the restaurant. They didn't recognize his member, did they? Come on now. No, they recognized the au jus sauce in one of the thumbnails, per court documents. Wow, au jus sauce would somehow be recognizable for your restaurant? I don't know, but this is unbelievably horrifying for you and me. I want to ask you, he started his behavior a little more than a week into the job. I'll give you more details in a second, but wow. I want to ask you, in all the years you've worked out there, maybe in food industry, maybe you were younger, like my wife was when she worked in it for years. I worked in it. I was horrible at it. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I was just horrible. I would forget stuff that you ordered. I worked at a restaurant in Wisconsin where I lost my radio job. It was my first full time one. I lost it in 3-4 months. That's welcome to radio, but. I was a restaurant, a waiter. I was horrible. And then I was a bartender. I was better at that. But I was horrible as a waiter because I literally would forget things. I was all about trying to schmooze them and stuff because I enjoyed talking, as you would imagine. And they'd be like, eventually they would like it, but then they'd be like, okay, hey, where's my free cornbread that we get when we come here? Like right off the bat. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. So that was me. But never did I do anything stupid like this. But I was really ridiculously mature and juvenile growing up in those years where you're vulnerable to being an idiot because you are an idiot, particularly if you're a guy. And so I just want to ask you this. I've heard stuff about fast food too, like you don't want to peeve off the people on the drive-thru. I've heard stories about, dude, you better kiss the rump of the people serving you in the drive-thru lane because they have the power to do lots of stuff and you'll never know about it. What have you seen or heard of over the years? What have you seen or heard of people doing at restaurants? And what advice do you have for those of us who, get our food from restaurants or at the drive-thru, which is pretty much every one of us, from time to time at least? What's your advice to people if you're going through the drive-thru or if you're ordering at a restaurant, like what not to do so you don't get your food spat in or, God knows what? 800-288-9227 is our number, 800-288-WBAP. What are the grossest things you've seen happen behind the scenes at restaurants? With people's food, and what is your advice on how not to let this happen to you? Be nicer, maybe to the server. Be nicer when you're going through the drive-thru. Don't be a jerk. I've heard stories on and off over the years. I'd love to hear from you. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. I also have more details about this guy, and when he was caught, and they asked him, what did he say? And when did he start this disturbing behavior? And there's more details on it. It's pretty unbelievable. This kid's got. I mean, he's bordering on being a serial killer. I mean, this is insane what this guy is doing. This is bad. It ain't gonna be his first rodeo with the cops in jail. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. What are the grossest things you've seen happen behind the scenes at restaurants? Hey, what's your advice on how not to let this happen to you? Like maybe be nicer, don't be a jerk, because people might spit in your food or do God knows what, or drop it on the floor and put it back on the plate and act like everything's fine. 800-288-WBAP is our number. All right, we'll talk to you next on the Chris Crock Show and news, and give you all more details on this case with this kid, and it's some scary stuff, some sick stuff. 800-288-9227. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227 on the Chris Crock Show. This guy says, I'll be straight up with you. When the cops said, hey, is this you on social media in a fake account, rubbing your genitals and urinating on people's food at a steakhouse? Yes, I'll be straight up with you. Yeah, he said, adding he had just been doing stupid S-word. Authorities said he confessed and started disturbing behavior a little more than a week into the job, motivated by his discontent with the role. What a sick bleep. If you don't like your role, don't take it. He filmed himself contaminating the dishes at an eatery before posting the online footage. But he said even after he started enjoying the job, he still continued with the disgusting acts. He told him his final violation involved sticking a lettuce down his pants before returning it on a tray to be served April 23rd. I mean, this is beyond insane. He revealed at least 20 dishes were contaminated before being consumed by patrons. Longtime customers shocked and worried about who's being targeted. What the restaurant must do in this case is, I'd say you got to give them like a couple $100 each. Although, what do you do because you don't know who they are? So that's kind of And then, do you have to come out and say it or just let it go? It'll be in the news anyways. I mean, what do you do? I don't blame the restaurant at all. You can't have a freaking monitor to see who's preparing the food if they got their get involved in that. So, accused of felony criminal threat. Carries a maximum sentence of up to 13 months in jail and fine of $100,000. This guy should be fined like $5,000 or $2,000, since he's only 21. But 13 months in jail, the full jail sentence. That's what I say. Okay, my questions are: what are the grossest things you've seen happen behind the scenes at restaurants? With people spitting the food or something, God forbid. And then what's your advice on how not to let this happen to you if you're a customer? Like, do you be nicer to the server? Do you not be a jerk in the drive-thru? I can only imagine some of your stories, and I want to hear them right now. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Let's go to Dana in Dallas. Dana, you're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey, Dana.
Hi, dear. How are you?
Very good. Thank you very much for that nice little word. I appreciate that. That's very sweet. Yeah, what's going on? What do you got?
Okay, so I used to work at Little Caesars.
Pizza.
Yeah, pizza. One of my employees used to find dead animals in the back behind the building and would put it in the pizza sauce.
Wait, say it again?
Oh, yeah. He used to pull dead animals from the back of the building and throw it in the big vats of pizza sauce.
Oh, my gosh. Did you see him doing it, or did you hear about it? And if you saw...
No. I saw him do it.
So how did you know? Was he doing it regularly?
No, only when he'd find a dead animal. So it'd be a frog or a rat or a snake, and he'd throw it in there. He'd stir it up a little bit, and then ladle it out, and then we would use that pizza sauce. We all knew not to eat pizza for that time that it was cooking. Yeah.
But the customers, you didn't stop it from being served. Were you like young and kind of a punk like he was at the time, and by not stopping it, or what?
This was my first job, so I didn't really know what to do, and then we just let it happen.
How old were you? I figured as much.
I was, 15.
Sorry?
15 and a half or 16.
Okay. Wow. Dang. Yeah. And what happened? Did he end up getting busted and fired, or did he leave? And I mean, did anybody ever get sick? Tell me those couple of things right there.
Okay. As far as I know, nobody ever got sick. The manager allowed him to do it, but then she got fired, and then he got fired, but I'm not sure why they got fired.
Oh, my gosh. Somebody can get like the Black Death, the bubonic plague, like that Middle Eastern disease or something. Oh, my gosh. That is just so sick.
I could write a book on how many stories I have, because I've spent almost my entire life in the restaurant business.
Is there any advice for us how not to get our food spat in or something gross like that? That's just absolutely beyond gross.
So in my opinion, no. When you've got a deranged person working in the back of the kitchen, they're going to do what they're going to do. I mean, the best bet is to be nice always, and hopefully somebody will steer you into not eating a specific meal or Maybe, but I mean, people are going to do what they're going to do. Sadly,
this guy was putting dead rats and frogs into this Little Caesars pizza sauce, which is, I cannot believe it's still. Imagine dipping that crazy bread and be like, oh, this is so good, not knowing a rat was bathing in it, a dead rat was bathing in it moments ago. Holy cow! There's nothing you can do. He wasn't targeting people. He was just being a criminal, a jerk, right?
So we would make that big, huge vat of pizza sauce for like the whole week, and so. We use that all up, and then we'd make a next one. Yeah. It
was like ratatouille sauce. Hey, thank you for your call. Great job, Dana. Chris in Dallas, you are on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP. Hello, Chris.
Hey there. How you doing today?
Good. How are you, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks so much for having me on. I just wanted to offer a little bit of levity from the other side of things as somebody that's been working in fine dining for about the past 5 years of my life.
Fine dining?
I'm only 20. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm only 25 years old, so this has been majority of my adult life working in this industry. And,
wow.
As bad as things can be out there, I just want to offer some hope to all the listeners out there.
Please.
When people, I treat this as my career. I care a lot about what I do.
Good.
I care a lot about taking care of people.
Yeah.
It's a unique and beautiful opportunity to have somebody random walk in from the door. You don't have any interaction with them, and you can leave them feeling better about themselves from when they walked in.
Yes.
It's a really beautiful thing. And
it is.
I just, all this stuff out there, bad things are going to happen all the time, especially at places that, don't have the people in there that deserve to be there. But I just want to remind everybody that, you go to a place where you walk in, you treat your server with respect, you treat them as a person, you talk to them kindly, and they're going to want to make your night and make you feel better and leave you walking away feeling better. There are still great places to go and great places to feel good. And so the way to avoid, having your food spit in or anything like that, just go in and be excited to be a part of them taking care of you. That's what we live for. I was born and raised in North Carolina. I inherited my mother's Southern hospitality gene.
Mm-hmm.
I love just being able to take care of people.
Good.
And that's why I do fine dining the way I do it.
So, I mean, what's an average meal cost where you serve at?
The place now that I serve at, I would say if you want to do, let's say, one person, entree and a glass of wine, we're talking about the $35 to $40
per person.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's definitely some fine dining. It's definitely, minimally, that's good. Okay, so you've never seen anybody do anything gross in your years?
Oh, I definitely have seen lots of people do things gross. You work in the industry long enough, you see people do a lot
Come
of
up
things.
with a couple ideas to share that you remember, and then tell us when we get back, okay?
Yes, sir.
Stand by. Chris in Dallas will tell us a couple things he's seen happen. The question is, grossest things you've seen happen behind the scenes at restaurants, your advice for how not to let this happen to you. Be nicer, don't be a jerk, so that nobody spits in your food, etc. All that's next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. And then Joe Biden is going to be impeached possibly over stopping the aid to Israel, and his own words are eating him alive, what he said about Trump stopping aid to Ukraine. That's next on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Okay, so Biden ripped over resurfaced anti-Trump tweet. Critics say it endorses his own impeachment. Let me play for you what we have on that, because Joe Biden literally did indict himself on this. Here we go. Here's two pieces to play with you. Oh, gotta get my buttons straight. I'm a little slow tonight, guys.
But the idea that we would cut off military aid to an ally, our only true ally in the entire region, is absolutely preposterous.
So that's the old Joe Biden saying it's preposterous to cut off aid to our ally. And that was then, this is now. The tweet said, this is no joke. Biden continued here. Let me go. Joe Biden is withholding. Hold on, I'll go back a second, okay? Joe Biden endorses his own impeachment, says one conservative. Wow, how newly relevant, says the New York Post reporter in his tweet. Joe Biden withholding congressionally appropriated aid to Israel unless they grant him a political favor. It's the definition of quid pro quo. In Joe Biden's tweet, he said this. This is amazing. As a candidate for president in 2019, Joe Biden tweeted, President Trump withheld congressionally appropriated aid to Ukraine unless they granted him a political favor. He said it was quid pro quo. This is no joke, he continued in his tweet, using his own personal political interest ahead of national interest. He said, Trump must be impeached. So, literally, Joe Biden's doing the exact same thing in his own words. Joe Biden, I'll take out and switch the names and the countries. President Biden, now I'm reading President Biden's tweet from 2019, okay, but I'm going to switch it with Biden and Israel instead of Ukraine. President Biden withheld congressionally appropriated aid to Israel unless they granted him a political favor. This is no joke. Wait, hold on. Where was it? Trump is withholding congressionally appropriated aid to Israel unless. Sorry, this is so confusing. There's like too many quotes all in a row here. Anyways, but he says this is no joke. Trump must be impeached, and so there you go. He withheld congressional approved appropriated aid to Israel unless they granted him political favor. What's the political favor? Don't go into Rafah. Why? Because the Michigan vote and the Wisconsin vote and the far left young vote is going to turn on me. The Muslim vote and the far left vote. Today, for example, or yesterday, AOC praised him for doing this. He's doing what the radical leftists who hate America and hate Jews want him to do. And what's amazing, guys, let me share a few of these with you because it's really stunning. The ones I want to share with you is twofold. I got one from one of the leaders of the anti-protest in Michigan told the Times the president's announcement is extremely overdue and horribly insufficient. He needs to come out against this war, period. That would be significant. So they're saying this isn't enough. But there's a quote I'm going to share with you now from an Israeli outfit or a Jewish outfit, and they absolutely denounce him. Let me pull that up here. Boom. I'm going to pull that up for you and share it with you because it's the ADL has condemned this, just so you know, and one of his mega donors condemned this. A Jewish man has condemned it. He's a billionaire. He's like a big fundraiser, one of the big ones. He has condemned it. You have these top Jewish groups that have all condemned it, and he's literally turned his back on them. So my questions for you on this is, do you think the old Joe Biden has now endorsed impeaching himself today due to withholding Israeli aid? And do you support impeaching Biden for this? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Here's what I wanted to tell you, too. I wanted to tell you this, that we have U.S. Congressman Corey Mills, who has lost both of his limbs in combat. He introduced articles of impeachment on this for Joe Biden because he is literally doing the same thing. And he has used Jerry Nadler, the very liberal weeble-wobble senator from New York State. He has taken Jerry Nadler's impeachment articles that he drafted up that they impeached Trump over for Ukraine, for withholding Ukraine aid. He literally took Jerry Nadler's impeachment articles against Trump and switched the names and the countries. He said it was 98% of Jerry Nadler's articles of impeachment he has used for Joe. Isn't that amazing? So it's the exact same thing, only this time Biden is actually going to get something out of it. Trump didn't. Ukraine didn't give him what he wanted, and so it was the same thing. So there you go. So do you think the old Joe Biden has endorsed impeaching himself today? And due to withholding Israeli aid, has he impeached himself, the old Joe Biden impeaching the new Joe Biden with his own words? And do you support impeaching Biden for this? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I'll tell you this, though. it's not just Corey Mills from Florida, congressman and veteran. It's also Tom Cotton, Republican senators. So you've got some U.S. senators saying that that you have to impeach him now, and you also have congressmen saying that. Here's the one I wanted to share with you. This one last one with here's the Jewish Federation of North America has condemned Joe Biden over this. I mean, these are his core base voters. It's stunning. He got an angry email from a mega donor that I told you about. I'll read you some of the highlights from that. And all that's coming up next on the Chris Kroc Show. And my question again is, do you think the old Joe Biden has literally endorsed, in his own words, tweeting in 2019 and in our interview I just played for you from several years ago as well, did Joe Biden, the old Joe Biden, impeach himself, endorsed impeaching himself today due to withholding Israeli aid? And do you support impeaching Biden for this? 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Chris Kroc Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. So what do you say? Biden ripped over resurfaced audio of his two things. Resurfaced anti-Trump tweets saying that basically he endorses his own impeachment because Trump withheld aid from Ukraine, and Biden and all the Democrats directly and overtly and openly accused Trump of an impeachable offense. They impeached him over that, and of course he wasn't convicted. And now Biden, literally his old tweet that I read you in the last segment is the exact same thing he's doing right now. And then the interview I played from several years ago, too, from Fake News CNN, I just played that for you in the last segment, where he literally is impeaching himself, basically, his old self impeaching his new self. Do you think the old Joe Biden has endorsed impeaching himself today due to withholding Israel's aid? And do you support impeaching Joe Biden for it? 800-288-WBAP is our number. That's 800-288-9227. And again, this is something that the articles have been drafted and they're being introduced by Corey Mills, congressman, and they're endorsed by Senator Tom Cotton. So that's very interesting. We'll see how this plays out. I do think an impeachment is warranted, but you also have to think about the timing with the election. So as far as that, I'm not sure, but I totally back doing this. I'm cool with it. Even if it just makes the point the guy's a complete hypocrite and he's doing it for political gain so he can get elected this November. He needs every possibility he can get to get elected because he's horribly failing, as we all know. Now, I promised to share with you some of the stuff where by one of Biden's mega donors, who's Jewish, is a letter he wrote to Biden was released to the public, and I think it was probably by design. You know, he gave it to Axios, most likely, is my opinion, so that this can be out there and it'll make them stop. But here's what I have. I'll share that one with you first. Then I'll tell you what the Jewish Federation, what the Jewish Federations responded to. And look, the Jewish Federation of San Antonio, I have had that gentleman on, and the head of it, and he's awesome. And I also have I've talked to personally some of the leaders in the Jewish Federation of Greater Dallas as well. So I think we had one of them on as well, if I'm not mistaken, one of the heads of it here from Dallas after the October 7th terrorism attack. But here's what they say. They're very powerful, and I'm grateful for them fighting for to stop anti-Semitism all over the country. So this is a very powerful group in my humble estimation. Here's the second half of their letter they wrote, open letter to Biden and to everybody. In threatening to withhold military aid from Israel, President Biden is wrong. Daylight between the U.S. and Israel on military matters emboldens Hamas and other Iran-backed forces in the region, encourages their delay tactics, and endangers the hostages by weakening Israel's negotiating hand at a critical juncture, which is very true. His comments regarding civilians and humanitarian aid only serve to reinforce the false narratives anti-Israel and anti-Semitic extremists are violently spreading in campus protests. These outcomes go against the laudable aspirations Biden has announced this week. Or he had, basically enunciated this week. There was no place on any campus in America, any place in America for anti-Semitism or hate speech or threats of violence of any kind, whether against Jews or anyone else. And they say even the strongest of allies sometimes disagree, but their mutual support should never waver. Amen. Now, this is from Axios, this exclusive today. Biden's big donors fume over Israeli criticism. And so this is one of the mega donors right here. And he writes to Biden top staffers. Hi, Steve and Anita. Can you please share with the president, dear President Biden, we, all caps, the U.S., as you stated numerous times, believe that Hamas should be defeated. We, all caps, in the U.S., in this case, you, all caps, Mr. President, have decided to stop sending munitions to Israel to achieve the goal that we, all caps, / you, all caps, have set up for Israel and ourselves. Even beyond Israel, this sends a terrible message to our allies in the region. And beyond that, we can flip from doing the right thing to bending to political pressure. Let's not forget that there are more Jewish voters who care about Israel than Muslim voters who care about Hamas. Bad, 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 he says. He wrote 3 times, bad, bad, bad. ... Decision on all levels. So it's a bad, bad, bad decision on all levels, he says. Please reconsider. Thank you. With respect, Haim. I forget Haim's last name, but he's like a billionaire mega donor guy. So these people matter that are, bringing this kind of money, right? So there you go. And I think it's an impeachable offense, and the man is a traitor. He's a traitor to Israel and to us and to everybody. I want to remind you something that's really important in this matter. Joe Biden already has been withholding munitions, bombs, directional bombs, the ones that make sure they don't kill civilians, smart bombs, if you will, JDAMs they're called for the acronym. And also, he literally also stopped shells and all sorts of stuff, like for tanks and mortars and stuff. And he did it a week before the Holocaust Memorial Day. So 1 week before Holocaust Memorial Day, he did it, but he hid it from the world and from us, Americans and Jews. He hid it because he didn't want you to find out on before his Holocaust Memorial Day speech. So Joe Biden for 1 week was screwing Israel to the umpteenth degree for a week, and he hid it, and he had his people hide it and cover it up, even though he was screwing them and stopping all the munitions for a week, so that you wouldn't be PO'd at him and it wouldn't ruin his Holocaust Memorial Day speech, so that you would buy his garbage. The man sold out Israel a week before he came out and said how important Holocaust Memorial Day was, or Holocaust Commemoration Day. He is a complete sellout, turncoat traitor to the great state of Israel. And it's disgusting. And I'm glad to see our Democrat friends and our Jewish friends agree with this, that are, a lot of Jews are liberal Democrats. And I'm glad they're speaking out. I want them to, and I'm grateful for that. All right, coming up next on the Chris Kroc Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Vulnerable Senate Democrats are lukewarm on a reported White House plan for Palestinian refugees. And I want to ask you about this. Do you want Palestinian refugees to come here to America? Do you want to embrace them like Joe Biden wants to do? And so several Democrats have come out on the record, several of them, you'll hear from them, saying, no way, Jose, no way. All that's next on the Chris Kroc Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3, 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227.